Today, Latinos are a major part of the fabric of Willimantic. They own businesses, the community joins them in celebrating religious holidays, and they share their culture with the town. The earliest days of Latino immigration to Willimantic, however, started as a struggle. In the mid-1950s, Puerto Ricans began arriving in numbers in Willimantic to work in the Hartford Poultry Company and the American Thread Company. Even though they were American citizens by birth, they couldn't speak English, had no political base, and were confused by the many elections that took place in the United States.
When you have a family that comes, for example, from Puerto Rico, where voting takes place once every 4 years, and you only vote once, then you come here to the United States, to a small community where you have referendums and you have budgets that you vote for, then you have state representatives that you vote for, the president that you vote for. You vote on so many different things, different times.
In small towns like Willimantic, politics start at the grassroots level. People organize to support each other, to get things done. The Puerto Rican Organization program, created in 1972, was such an organization.
I became involved with PROP in 1974 as a volunteer. In 1978, I done one and became a board member. Volunteer work is very important, and it's something that I like to stress, that we have to become involved.
PROP provided direct service and referrals to more than 3,000 Latinos in the area of education, housing, and social services.
PROP has certainly had an impact, but there's certainly still a need for Hispanic services in Willimantic.
Another early Latino political leader in Willimantic was Luis Diaz, who came from Puerto Rico in 1975. By 1979, he was president of the local teachers' union. Diaz was elected to the Board of Finance in 1983, remaining there for 10 years. Getting more Latinos elected to positions in town wasn't easy, however.
The political situation of the Puerto Ricans in Willimantic was very dire. There was basically no political organization. The Democratic Party was dominated by the old guard. And I aligned myself with a new group led by Luis Guarnacha, composed of minorities, women, and people who were basically out of the political mainstream. And we ran a very vigorous campaign, and we registered many, many Latinos in town. We ran television and radio commercials, and we did the printed media, and we did interviews, and there was a very good group of people, and we were able to win the election and elect Luis Guarnacha as the first select woman, and myself in the Board of Finance, and other people from our group in different boards and commissions.
Over time, the leadership of Vasquez, Diaz, and others led to more Puerto Ricans being elected as public officials, including Juan Perez, Yolanda Negron, Lourdes Montalvo, James Flores, Hernando Rivera, and Luz Osuba.
It wasn't until the late 90s that we got like the first Latino elected person. And back in the days, I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman who was very involved here in Willimantic, and he used to say all the time, until we break that language barrier and we bring the right information, not any kind of information, the right and correct information to Latinos in this town, they're not going to get involved, and we're not going to have the representation that we should be having in different boards and commissions here in town.
When I was elected, I was very, very nervous because I felt like I had this community out there that really had high hopes of my being there, that I was going to be their voice. And it was very humbling.
Despite leaders like Yolanda Negron and Lourdes Montalvo, several factors have prevented Willimantic's Latino community from gaining the political representation that current numbers suggest. While 40 to 50% of the community is Latino today, there is only one Latino on the town council out of 11, and 1 Latino out of 9 school board members.
Even though we've had more Latinos elected to office in the local government in Windham, I think the representation is minimal and inadequate. I think we have to incorporate the new immigrants, the Guatemalans, the Mexicans, into this political system so we can develop an effective political machine to defend our rights and to defend our people in this greater community of Windham, Connecticut.
The face of Latinos in Willimantic has changed since the mid-1980s. In addition to Puerto Ricans, immigrants from Mexico, the Dominican Republic, Guatemala, and other Latin American countries have changed the political dynamic. With such diversity within the Latino community, political solidarity has been difficult.
We are a very diverse Latino population, and then some of these people that belongs to the other small groups of that Latino population don't have the right to vote. Some of them are not citizens. So you're talking about numbers. But the numbers comes down to mostly people who have the right to vote, who are either a green card, they are not illegals, or they are residents of the United States, and they are already U.S. citizens.
In addition to the impact of their different cultural backgrounds, Latinos will not participate in politics unless the issues they care about are addressed.
The biggest issue that Latinos are concerned with here in town are jobs, employment. We have many of our youth who they're either leaving or turning into other things that they shouldn't turn to because there's not enough employment.
What will it take to further expand political participation and representation for Latinos in Willimantic?
We need to educate our community how the system works, how they can get involved, the importance of registering to vote.
Whoever thinks as themselves or himself or herself as a leader is the one who has the responsibility to come forward and do something about that situation. And I don't see any other way to do it because there are committees, now the political parties are looking for Latino representation. But what happens is that sometimes the people of our community, our Latino community, is not available to face the responsibility that entails that job.
What we should be doing is helping these families and educating them and helping them on how to become citizens.
Education is the key. If we get them civically engaged and we give them the power through education, they will be getting more involved and they will cross those barriers.
Latinos in Willimantic have come a long way since the mid-1950s, or even 1983, when there were only 463 registered Puerto Rican voters in town. With growing Latino political power at the national, state, and local level, strength of numbers in Willimantic, a history of Latino leadership in our town, and a potential for federal immigration reform, the political future of Willimantic's Latinos is in their hands.
The perception of the Latino community is changing for better. Is turning more positive, and they look at us like, wow, these people can make a change, and they can do positive things, and they can bring and contribute to the town if we let them.
When I go around town, there's so many new faces, people that I don't know. And for me, I think it's wonderful because all of these new faces, especially the younger generation, I see all these new young faces and I think, wow, this is the future of Latinos here in Windham.